مادة اللغة الإنجليزية للصف الثالث الثانوي، قراءة عبد البديع هائل. Republic of Yemen English Course 6. كتاب الطالب، السلسلة السادسة. Unit 2 Lesson 9 الوحدة الثانية، الدرس التاسع. Page 22 Workbook Page 22. كتاب الأنشطة الصفحة 22. Exercise A. Read the notes below. اقرأ الملاحظات التالية. There are two types of question. هنالك نوعان من الأسئلة. WH questions and yes/no questions. WH questions أسئلة WH questions start with a question word. تبدأ بكلمة استفهام، كلمة سؤال. WH questions start with a question word. An example: who. WHO. who من الذي، أو من التي، من الذين، من اللواتي. who. where أين. WHERE for places للأماكن. where do you live. which أي، ويسأل بها عن الأشياء الغير عاقلة. which أي. which city do you like. which city. which car. which color is your favorite. which WHICH what ما أو ماذا. what 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 is happening ماذا يحدث. what WHAT when متى. WHEN متى for time للوقت. when do you get up. when. why WHY لماذا. why are you angry. لما أنت غاضب. why. how how كم إذا تبعت بصفة. كيف إذا تبعت بفعل. how old are you كم عمرك. تبعت بالصفة old. how many brothers have you got. many adjective كم عدد إخوتك. how deep is this well كم عمق هذه البئر. how deep. how long. how far. how high. how wide وهكذا. how إذا تبعت بصفة تكون كم، إذا تبعت بفعل تكون كيف. how كيف. how are you كيف أنت. how did you do that كيف فعلت ذلك. how does she cook كيف تطبخ وهكذا. we answer a WH question نجيب عن أسئلة WH. we answer a WH question with a piece of information بقطعة معلومات، بجملتين. WH questions. who is this. this is my father. من هذا أبي. where do you live. I live in صنعاء. أين تعيش. أعيش في صنعاء. which color is your favorite. white color is my favorite. أي لون هو لونك المفضل. or what's your favorite color. which color is your favorite. which white is my favorite. قطعة كلام. a piece of information قطعة من المعلومات. which. what are you doing. I'm reading. what are you doing. I'm listening. قطعة من الكلام أجيب بها عن السؤال. when did Yemen unite. متى توحدت اليمن. when did Yemen unite. متى. when did Yemen unite. piece of information. Yemen united in May 1990. توحدت اليمن في مايو 1990. why are you angry. why are you upset. I'm upset because I lost my camera. I'm upset because I lost my telephone. why are you upset. لما أنت منزعج. I'm upset أنا منزعج because I lost my telephone my mobile لأني فقدت موبايلي. how many brothers have you got. I have got 2 brothers. how many sisters have you got. I have got 1 sister. we answer a WH question with a piece of information. This is an information now. we usually say WH questions ودائما ننطق WH questions with falling intonation بنبرة منخفضة، نبرة هابطة. where are you from. Where up rise مرتفعة. لاحظ الآن عندما تنخفض أو تهبط are you from. Where are you from? Where are you from? So it goes what? Falling. Falling هبوط. Intonation. Intonation. Falling intonation. نبرة منخفضة. Falling أو هابطة. Falling intonation. Falling F-A-L-L-I-N-G. Intonation I-N-T-O-N-A-T-I-O-N. Intonation I-N-T-O-N-A-T-I-O-N. Intonation. Falling intonation. WH questions has a falling intonation. WH questions have a falling intonation. Now, let's go to yes-no questions. Yes-no questions. أسئلة نعم ولا. Yes-no questions. Yes-no questions start with verb to be or an auxiliary. تبدأ بفعل من أفعال الكينونة. أسئلة نعم ولا. تبدأ بفعل من أفعال الكينونة. Verb to be is, are, was, were. Verb to be. Is he your brother? هل هو أخوك? Was he a student? هل كان طالبا؟ Are you happy? هل أنت سعيدا؟ Do you want a cup of tea? هل تريد كوبا من الشاي؟ Can you tell me the time please? أيمكنك أن تخبرني بالوقت من فضلك؟ Can auxiliary. Auxiliary A-U-X-I-L-I-A-R-Y. وكل الأفعال الناقصة إذا بدأت بها إحدى الجمل كانت yes no question. سؤال يحتمل الإجابة نعم أو لا. Will you come? هل ستأتي؟ Can you swim? هل تستطيع أن تسبح؟ Could you speak English when you were a child? هل أمكنك تحدث الإنجليزية عندما كنت طفلا؟ Auxiliary verbs. May I talk to your father? أيمكنني التحدث إلى أبيك؟ May I talk to your father? أيمكنني التحدث إلى أبيك؟ They produce the answer yes or no. إذن تكون إجابة هذه الأسئلة yes or no. We usually say yes no questions. وعادة ننطق yes no questions with rising intonation. The opposite of what? Of falling intonation. Rising intonation is the opposite of falling intonation. Rising intonation. نبرة مرتفعة. Rise. Rising. R-I-S-I-N-G. Rising. R-I-S-I-N-G. Intonation. I-N-T-O-N-A-T-I-O-N. Rising intonation. Do you want a cup of tea? Do you want a cup of tea? Are you happy? Are you happy? Are you happy? But when I say WH questions, it will be falling intonation. Why are you happy? Why are you happy? They produce answer yes or no. We usually say yes no questions, rising intonation. Now, yes no questions have a rising intonation. Yes no questions have a rising intonation. WH questions have falling intonation. Yes, a falling intonation. Practice asking both types of question. تمرن على إلقاء الأسئلة بنوعيها. Your voice rises or falls on a word. Okay, we'll start. So practice asking both types. Practice asking both types. تمرن على إلقاء الأسئلة بنوعيها. Both types. Both كلا النوعين. كلا B-O-T-H. Both. Practice asking both types. Types T-Y-P-E-S. Of question. Your voice rises or falls. صوتك يرتفع أو ينخفض. Rises يرتفع or falls أو ينخفض. On which word? In the question. So your voice rises or falls on a word in the question. You will see. سوف تلاحظ سهم إلى الأسفل or أو سهم إلى الأعلى before the words where this happens. Say each question. Question number 1. Who is your best friend? 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 Who is your who من who is your man? Who is your best friend? Who is your best friend? Who is your best friend? لاحظ كيف أين تم الانخفاض أو الهبوط في الصوت. Who is your best friend? friend أصلها friend. عندما سألت Who is your best friend? Who is your best friend? Who is your best friend? إذن هناك انخفاض. في WH questions falling intonation حدث falling intonation عند الكلمة الأخيرة friend. Where does your best friend live? Where does your best friend live? Where does your best friend live? أين يعيش صديقك الحميم؟ Where does your best friend live? أين يعيش أفضل أصدقائك؟ Where does your best friend live? Where does your best friend live? Where does your best friend live? Live falling. هناك انخفاض. What does your best friend like doing? What does your best friend like doing? What does your best friend like doing? ماذا يحب أعز أصدقائك أن يفعل؟ What does your best friend like doing? Now different type. الآن إلى النوع المختلف. Yes, no questions. Does your best friend like sailing? Here. Does your best friend like sailing? القوة في الأخير. Sailing? Does your best friend like sailing? هل صديقك يحب الإبحار؟ Sailing. Sailing إبحار. S-A-I-L-I-N-G. S-A-I-L-I-N-G. Does your best friend live nearby? Does your best friend live nearby? Does your best friend live nearby? هل أفضل أصدقائك يعيش بالقرب من هنا؟ Nearby في الجوار. Nearby N-E-A-R-B-Y. Nearby. Does your best friend live nearby? 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 Rising. Rising intonation. WH questions have a rising intonation. Number 6. Does your best friend have a boat? 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 Boat بوضوح أنطقها بشكل أقوى وقد تطول. Rising. Rising intonation. Does your best friend have a boat? Does your best friend have a boat? هل لصديقك قاربا؟ Exercise B. Exercise B. You are a reporter. أنت مذيع. You want to find information. تريد إيجاد معلومات about someone عن أحدهم for your newspaper لصحيفتك. Match the information A to E. وصل المعلومات A to E to the questions إلى الأسئلة 1 to 5. 1 to 5. We have A, B, C, D, E. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So we are going to match the information to the question. The information to the question. Write correct letter in each box. هناك صناديق. After each question, بعد كل سؤال, سنضع الأحرف المناسبة. His occupation. A. His occupation. A. His occupation. وظيفته. His occupation. وظيفته. وظيفة occupation. O-double-C-U-P-A-T-I-O-N. Occupation. وظيفة. Job. His occupation. B. His favorite hobby. His favorite hobby. His favorite hobby. هوايته المفضلة. His favorite hobby. Favorite. F-A-V-O-U-R-I-T-E. Favorite. Favorite. His favorite hobby. هواية. Hobby. Interests. Hobby. هواية. H-O-B-B-Y. C. Frequency of visits to restaurants. Frequency التردد. F-R-E-Q-U-E-N-C-Y. Frequency التردد of visits في الزيارات to restaurants إلى المطاعم. التردد في الزيارات على المطاعم أو إلى المطاعم. Frequency of visits to restaurants. D. His age. عمره. E. His address. عنوانه. Now, does he live in this village? Does he live in this village? What am I asking about? عما يسأل أو يستفسر هذا السؤال. Does he live in this village? Village قرية. V-I-L-L-A-G-E. V-I-L-L-A-G-E. Does he live in this village? هل هو يعيش في هذه القرية؟ His address. عنوانه. Does he live in this village? ستأخذ في المربع الحرف E. E الأخيرة. His address. His address. Number 2. Does he eat out often? Does he eat out often? Eat out. Eat out. يأكل في الخارج. Eat. E-A-T. Does he eat out often? هل يأكل في الخارج؟ Frequency of visits to restaurants. التردد في زيارة المطاعم. C. C. Number 3. How old is he? How old is he? How old is he? How old is he? His age. D. D. Number 4. What does he do? What does he do? ماذا يعمل? What does he do? His occupation. Yes. A. A. What does he do? I'm asking about his occupation. أسأل عن وظيفته. Number 5. What does he like doing best? What does he like doing best? ما أفضل شيء يحب أن يفعله? What does he like? What does he like doing best? His hobbies. Yes. His favorite hobby. His favorite hobby. هوايته المفضلة. Say the questions above. So, what does he like doing best? A. Say the questions above. Does your voice rise or fall? Circle the correct arrow. انطق الأسئلة في الأعلى. هل تلاحظ أن صوتك يرتفع rise or fall أو ينخفض؟ Circle ضع دائرة. Circle دور. The correct arrow السهم الصحيح. سهم يرتفع إلى الأعلى، سهم ينخفض إلى الأسفل. Just say rise or fall. Rise يرتفع، fall ينخفض. Rise intonation نبرة مرتفعة. Fall intonation نبرة منخفضة. Does he live in this village? Does he live in this village? Does he live in this village? Rise intonation. Does he eat out often? Rise intonation. How old is he? Fall intonation. How old is he? Fall intonation. What does he do? What does he do? What does he do? ماذا يفعل؟ ماذا يعمل؟ What does he do? Fall intonation. WH questions, fall intonation. What does he like doing best? 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 Fall intonation. Fall intonation. Exercise C. التدريب C والأخير لهذا الدرس. Work in pairs. لنعمل معا كل اثنين. Interview your partner. قابل زميلك about her family. عن أسرته. And note her answers. ثم لاحظ إجاباته أو إجاباتها in the table في الجدول. سوف نكتب الإجابات الخاصة بكل زميل من الزملاء. نسأل أولا name. What's your name? Age. How old are you? Address. Where do you live? Kind of house. Is your house a flat? Father's name. What's your father's name? Father's occupation. What does your father do? Mother's name. What's your mother's name? Mother's occupation. What does your mother do? What does your mother do? What's the job of your mother? بطرق أخرى ممكن أسأل what's the job؟ ما الوظيفة؟ What's the job of your mother? Or what does your mother do? Number of brothers. How many brothers have you got? How many brothers have you got? Number of brothers. عدد الأخوة. How many brothers have you got? What are their occupations? ما وظائفهم? What are their occupations? ما وظائفهم? How many sisters have you got? How many sisters have you got? Number of sisters. Number of sisters. How many sisters have you got? What are their occupations? ما وظائفهن? And other information. معلومات أخرى. قد أسأل عن معلومات أخرى. An example. What's your hobby? What's your favorite hobby? ما هوايتك المفضلة؟ ما هوايتك المفضلة؟ Your partners are going to answer these questions. What's your name? My name is Badi'. How old are you? I'm 38. What's your address? I live in Sana'a City, Taiz Street. What's your house type or house kind? What kind of house do you live? In which kind of house do you live? I live in a flat. أعيش في شقة. Flat. F-L-A-T. شقة. What's your father's name? My father's name is Hayel. What's your father's occupation? ما وظيفة أبيك? My father is an electrician. كهربائي. Electrician. What's your mother's name? My mother is, or my mother's name is. My mother's name is Maryam. What's your mother's occupation? What's your mother's occupation? She is a housewife. Housewife. ربة بيت. H-O-U-S-E. House. Wife. W-I-F-E. How many brothers have you got? I have got 2 brothers. لدي أخوان. What are their jobs? What are their jobs? One is a doctor. The other is a dentist. أحدهما طبيب عام. الثاني dentist. طبيب أسنان. How many sisters have you got? I have got no sisters. ليس لدي أخوات. How many sisters have you got? I have got 6 sisters. لدي 6 أخوات. What are their occupations? ما وظائفهن? They are all housewives. كلهن ربات بيوت. Housewives. Housewives. Other information. What's your hobby? ما هوايتك? My hobby is singing. What's your hobby? My hobby is drawing. What's your hobby? My hobby is painting. الرسم, الغناء, any hobby. Thank you very much. This is the end of the lesson. With the whole regards of Yemeni Forum of Persons with Disability.
مع تحيات المنتدى اليمني للأشخاص ذوي الإعاقة.